And welcome into Juck on Bucks. Appreciate you all so much for joining me. Let me make sure my microphone's on. The microphone's on. You can hear me. What's up, guys? I see you in there. Kyle, Andy, Master Black, not happy that they took the foot off the gas. Listen, guys, what a weird game, right? The first quarter of that game, I thought we were going to be coming in here to convene after the game being pretty salty, and things definitely, thanks, Rod, I got you, buddy. Things definitely definitely took a turn for the better, but it certainly seemed like we were getting off to quite a slow start. Some really some frustrating defensive plays, and then things just kind of started to snowball. Yeah, sloppy, dominant, weird game for sure. That's kind of how it felt to me. All of those kind of rolled in one. You had some really sloppy linebacker play early on. And again, it just looked to me like, man, we're in for one. We were in for a battle. But credit to Michigan State, they came out playing like it was everything to them, and obviously it was. We know what the shot that we get from everybody in the Big Ten in a night game. That's the biggest game of the year for them, and it certainly was for Michigan State tonight. They played like it. They played good. I was pretty impressed by that crew. I'm really impressed by that coach. I think that they've got something going there, and I think they're going to give Michigan the business, to be quite honest, because they're pretty tough. But I had 10 things that I wanted to see heading into this game. What's up, Dev? What's up, John? Good to see you guys. Number one, a fast start. We did not get off to a fast start. I think that's fair to say. Number two, continued offensive line dominance. And it was a pretty good performance. That Michigan State front was pretty doggone tough. I think they did well. I did see a couple of missed assignments. Tough until you really get into the all-22 film to see, who individually did good or not. But they got a good push. As far as rushing yards on the day, Quinshawn went 7 for 69. I'm sorry. Trey went 7 for 69. Quinn 11 for 54. Trey had a long of 37. That was a slick run. James Peoples 10 for 29. And Jeremiah had that 1 for 19 yards. Will also added 6 carries for 14 yards. And that touchdown was nice to see him get in the end zone again. Targets, I was really hoping that they would feed JJ. And while they didn't really feed JJ a ton, he certainly put on a show for the rest of the country. And that is definitely something that I wanted to see. I want everybody to see what this guy's capable of so that so it strikes fear in them. They game plan for him, and it makes everything better. But Emeka, as far as the wide receivers, he was the story of the night. With 2 drops in the first half, they keep going to him. Not only did he play awesome, he was blocking like a madman, an absolute man possessed. That linebacker that he put on his rear end, that's a 233-pound throwback linebacker, and that was really something. We knew that he was powerful, but that was really something to see. And I was quite happy to see that for him. A great game for Emeka. Brian, thanks for the 5, buddy. Brian says this team is 5th or 6th best, not a contender. Well, that's definitely not the best game that they can play, I don't think. But you don't want to be playing your best game in week 5. You want to be playing your best game in week 15. I think there's definitely some areas that they need to grow. And I definitely think that there are some things that they do that are just as good, if not better, than anybody else in the country. Are they totally clicking on all cylinders right now? No, definitely not. And again, we didn't see a ton of Tyleek. Another thing I wanted to see was if Tywan Malone could maybe follow up on that performance last week. I don't think we saw too much of that. The defensive line wasn't great, but we did get a couple of sacks today from the ends. The ends did pretty well. Mitchell Melton, he got a sack and a half. That was really cool to see. I'm a big fan of Mitchell Melton. We got a sack from JT. JT, it was an excellent bull rush too. He really got the best of his guy right there on that one. And that was fun to see for him. I know he's been starving for that sucker. Linebacker play, that Cody Simon stop on 4th down was an excellent play. Sonny played bad, guys. Sonny was bad. It was by far his worst game. It was bad, and that's 2 straight games in a row of subpar play for Sonny. It's got me a little concerned, if I'm being quite honest. Things just aren't clicking for him. He's not triggering fast, but let's stick with the positive. The passing game running through JJ, I wanted to see. Again, didn't quite see that. Downfield passing. So I wanted to see some more downfield passing. I think most of us did. And definitely we did not see that in the first half. It was a lot of short stuff. And towards the end of the first half, we might have seen a couple. But in the second half, we did see some balls getting pushed downfield, and Will looked pretty good doing it. So all in all, I think I was pretty happy with that. I did not chart it because I was clicking back and forth with the Penn State Illinois game, which was pretty doggone close. And boy, that Georgia Bama game, wow, was that something? I've been saying for a while, Georgia's not that dude, man. They just don't got that same mojo. But Alabama, to their credit, looked amazing. Milro was fantastic. Tight end play. Tight ends got 4. G had 4 early targets, 3 receptions, 14 yards, and a touchdown. Bennett Christian had that one where he fell down. I don't really like seeing this many targets go to the tight ends if I had my choice, but whatever. You know, they kept it rolling. They did what they needed to do. It's not my preference, but they seemed like they were making it a point to get the ball to G, which I don't know. I was a little confused by it. As for the young D lineman, Caden McDonald played a pretty good game. That's for sure. And the sack count we talked about, we wanted some sacks, and the turnover train. That was number 10. I wanted to see some turnovers tonight. I think the guys all wanted to see some turnovers. You had Ransom with that beautiful punch. That was just picture perfect. Hancock with that strip, and then that Denzel pick that was right in the breadbasket, which was perfect. And yes, that's correct. That's correct. You cannot do that. Mike says you can't fit an X receiver that's getting bracketed. I think Matt's talking about Sonny here. He thinks he's getting lost out there. And Chuba says everyone's overreacting. Is everyone overreacting in the chat? What are we thinking here, guys? Are you like, all in all, my feeling is really good about that game. Like, I take away that they started off against a team that came to fight, and they fought, and the Buckeyes slowly took over and then imposed their will. That's the way that felt. I'm feeling damn good about that game, guys. I don't think that was a normal Michigan State team that we've been playing the last couple of years. I think that was a pretty game team. And all in all, let's be honest here, like Rod says, Texas struggled with Mississippi State more than Toledo did. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect right now. Nobody is perfect. Rod says Downs had a good night. This to me was Caleb Downs' breakout Buckeye night. Like that's kind of what I've been waiting to see from him. My gosh, does that guy look like he is just shot out of he's a missile. It is so impressive. It is so impressive. And I've been waiting to see that. Mr. Black, the blocks from the wide receivers were amazing. They absolutely were. And Mike, you know, I don't know if you watch the show regularly. This is something I've been really harping on this week. There is absolutely no reason that Sonny Styles at this point should have more snaps than Arvell Reese, let alone twice as many, which is what he had last week. I don't have the snap count yet for tonight's game, but it's just it's not justifiable at this point to me. I kind of had this conversation with Dylan in the middle of the week. He disagrees with me, and I can understand. I just think there's the way I look at it is there's this thing we have where we expect somebody's going to be something, and Sonny very well may be that somebody that we expect he's going to be, but he's not there yet. Are we going to continue to play the linebacker who's not playing as good when we have a guy who is much closer to being there, right? And Arvell right now is just closer to being there. So for me, it's a no-brainer. John says IGB did not play great either. He gave up some big plays. He did. And on that touchdown, he was playing pretty far off of his dude. I didn't understand that. He kind of let that one go. And Mike said he was getting cooked. Not his best game for sure. Casey says, Rod, my Hawkeyes can hang in if Caleb Johnson has a good game. Iowa next week, guys. Gonna be a tough one. They should be a tougher contest for sure. And the Bucks now heading into that 4-game stretch. Iowa, Oregon, bye week, Nebraska, Penn State. And it's going to be quite the stretch. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm happy it's finally here. It's been quite a while since we got to play a fun game. Tonight I had fun. Like that was a fun game for me. I had a great time watching it. It finally felt like the season really started to me because there was a minute there I was like concerned, So Rod thinks it's very concerning that teams have been attacking IGB all year. This JJ Smith is incredible, isn't he, guys? Wow. And this is what the most incredible thing when you see him make that play and he goes to the sideline. First off, how about the juice, the energy from the rest of the team to greet him in the end zone? And then when he goes to the sideline, this is a freshman. And you got all the defensive leaders, the upperclassmen coming up to shake his hand. It's just so different. And you can see how different it is by their reaction. And we've been waiting to see the kind of stuff he's been doing in practice in a game for the rest of the country to see it. The stuff that we've seen slowly leak out of since back in the spring. And we've been waiting to see it in a game. We saw a little bit of it. I mean, that's not even his most impressive stuff, right? Like he's got so much more. But I've been waiting to see something that was just a wow moment, and to have him like that back to back. Really cool stuff. Andrew Siciliano and Colt McCoy. What'd you guys think, man? Andrew Siciliano called G. Scott Jerry Gee. And I said to my brother, I'm going to call him Jerry Gee for the rest of my life. Jerry Gee on the catch. Colt wasn't as offensive or horrible as I thought he would be, but listening to him talk last week in a little blurb, I was like, this is going to be bad. But it was not that bad. Jeff says, Sand got his black stripe back tonight, throws low percentage deep ball on 4th and 1. What was that? What was that about? Day was salty, man. He was mad that he threw that one. Chubba Wubba Hub says, we're a lot like the 2014 team this year. Hang on the first half, make adjustments, and do our thing the rest of the way. Hey, I'll take it. You know what I mean? If you're going to, not only did they win, but they covered. Spread was 24. So they won, they covered. And like Kenneth, I think that Michigan State team was coached pretty doggone well. And, all in all, if that first quarter went a little bit differently, I think that everybody would be really happy about this, but it didn't. And like Dan, it's hilarious to me that people expect perfection all season. Big win for OSU to open up Big Ten play. I think a lot of it has to do with the perception of the opponent. I don't think that anybody really expected in Jonathan Smith's first year with 60 new players that he could possibly field a team that could give the Buckeyes any kind of struggle at any point in the game. And for a little bit there early on, it felt like, whoa, I didn't expect this. We're struggling a little bit. But, I think that at the end of the year, we're going to look back at this Michigan State team and say, okay, it all makes sense now. That's my thought. Could be wrong. William McBride, we got a Duckeye in the house, and your game is about to start at the Rose Bowl. Why is Bama throwing? I don't got that one. I don't got that one on anymore. It'll distract me. What do I got on? Arizona, Utah on in the background. I'm waiting for the Oregon game. I want to see how they do against UCLA, who UCLA got throttled by Indiana, which, by the way, massive win for Indiana. They moved to 5-0. A lot of other games, guys, if you want to talk about some other games or what did you guys think about the call at the end of the Michigan game? The end of the Michigan game, Minnesota kicks an onside kick. and they say that he was offsides. On every picture I've seen, he doesn't look offsides, though I did see a picture later on this afternoon that showed one of the Minnesota players was blocking before the ball went 10 yards, which if they reviewed it, they might have caught that, and I don't know. But it certainly seemed a little bit of home cooking. Andy says overall good, a very scrappy MSU team on the road, and the Buckeyes ended up dominating. They beat the spread, right? They did. They did. What? They say good teams win, great teams cover. Bucks covered. Good stuff. Still expose some weaknesses to correct while winning big, which I think is important, right? If you don't expose anything to correct and you just absolutely dominate, then you get very little out of it, but some live reps. They saw some things they need to correct. They're going to see it all in film. Definitely some stuff with Sonny. I think they got a real decision to make here at linebacker. And I actually saw CJ Hicks playing meaningful reps in the first half, which I mean, honestly, to me, I don't know how Gabe Powers hasn't hopped him, to be honest, as well as Arvell hopping Sonny. And I could definitely, and here, right here, WC, Gabe Powers and Arvell need to play. Gabe is a beast. Yeah, Gabe should not be behind CJ Hicks, in my opinion. Kevin says JJ was built in a lab. It's just at this point, I've run out of things to say about him. You know what I mean? The great part is it's just really satisfying because we all knew this was coming. You know, we knew it was coming, and it's very satisfying for everybody else to see it because they've been doubting us the whole time. Like, yeah, whatever. Cam Coleman down at Auburn, Ryan Wingo at Texas, the kid on Michigan State team, all these other freshman wide receivers that are really, really good. And in a normal year, they would be, amazing. They're not compared to JJ. They're just not. He's different. That's just what it is. Retired Zebra Stripe says, IGB starts slow, but as the game goes on, he gets better. Josh thinks the corners were generally getting cooked and missing tackles. Jason says, we lost 3 games to Michigan State when we were ranked in the top 3. I'm very grateful to beat these spoilers on the road. Some teams just got your number, and it certainly felt like there was a stretch there where they have played spoiler to us. And of course, what was it? Tuesday was the 25th anniversary of the 1998 game against Michigan State. I told the story of I remember exactly where I was during the game. Like they have definitely played spoiler. They have definitely. Oh gosh, this is not close for me. Josh asks, JJ more talented than Marv? 100% in my book. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, you got to be kidding me. 42-16, Southern Methodist is beating Florida State. Wow. Hey, I'm here for it, man. Remember, all off season, we went over these stupid best coaches in America lists, and Mike Norvell was over Ryan Day on so many of them. It made my head spin. And I think we're seeing what the deal is for real. What's up, Brad? Good to see you, buddy. Jeff says JJ was compared to Terrell Owens tonight. That's interesting. Josh says, dude is a monster. Marv wasn't this good as a freshman. No, he was not. Brad, not a fan of the Peacock. I'll tell you, I was having a really irritating time. Fast forwarding, rewinding, everything was just a little wonky. And it's not like that on my YouTube TV. Couldn't fast forward through the commercials. It was stopping me from that because I was like probably a series and a half behind most of the game. And then you can't have the quad box, which was really frustrating. So I had to have my iPad with this one, and it was just annoying. The whole thing's annoying. Hey, Ray, we got our man Ray for a live. Ray did not have the Peacock. Man, you should have let us know. Somebody would have shared their password with you, buddy. Georgia down to Bama's 1. What's the score? It's not close. Is it a 1-score game now? You got to be kidding me. William McBride is an East Coast Duckeye. I didn't know that, buddy. I thought you were out there in the homeland. I got to turn this Georgia game on and see what you guys are talking about right here. You got to be kidding me. This would be monumental. Wow, Terry. I was prepping the show and wrapping up the Buckeyes game. I was so tuned out of this. I thought this was a blowout. Wow. Rod thinks Minnesota got screwed for sure. And what a Friday night too. Crazy Friday night of games as well. Obviously, the Miami Virginia Tech game was pretty wild, but the other game, the Rutgers Washington game, came down to a field goal at the buzzer as well. So two wild games back to back on Friday, heading into today. Crazy weekend of football. This slate today was awesome. We saw a ton of good games, and we'll definitely get into them all on Monday, or we might just pop up here tomorrow as well because I'm really tired. Terry says JJ is RoboCop, man. I mean, we got to figure out a nickname that sticks for him because there's not been one singular nickname I don't think that's really stuck for him yet. But I would like it if he had one. Judd says, nice to know Zone 6 is very much alive. Not only that, but nice to see that Zone 6 is blocking like the OG Zone 6 again, because they really are. And it's so fun to see. Andy says, how about that look Ryan Day gave saying when he threw on 4th down? I'm so happy that they replayed that with the hands on the hips and everything. It looked like a very disappointed father. Very good stuff. Rod says, so weird watching Oregon and UCLA being a Big Ten conference game. It really is. I'm still trying to get used to the Big Ten patches. Wisconsin with a very game performance against SC. I was not expecting that. They kept it pretty interesting for quite a while. Ron, I think Beck always looks high. You know what I find so weird? I don't know if it's just the way he looks, but that he got the full sleeve tattoo and that he got the Lamborghini. It just doesn't fit with what I, like listen to this kid talk as he's come up through recruiting and stuff. Like it doesn't fit his personality to me. And obviously I don't know anything about his personality, but just the way he talks and the way he carries himself does not seem like a sleeved out guy that drives a Lamborghini. But yes, he does always have that look in his eyes. Brad says, Bucks just started slow again on defense, particularly at linebacker. We'll be fine. Got to come up with some answers at linebacker. You know what I mean? Not good enough. What's up, Tone? Florida State sucks so bad, for sure. Andrew says Arvell's the best linebacker by far. Simon looks lost. Yeah, Richie. I'm with you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up, guys. I would not have even turned it back on if I hadn't been on here with you. And this is what's bothersome, Brad. Brad says the top teams in the SEC couldn't possibly have chinks in their armor. It's that their bottom teams are beasts. And that's just it. We expect perfection from Ohio State. Meanwhile, we watched Texas was up by 8 points at halftime against Mississippi State. Remember, Texas is now the number one team, the team that everybody talked about all last week. Matter of fact, since they beat Michigan, like they were just this dominant force. That's the same Mississippi State that Toledo absolutely destroyed. It's like every single fan base is having these same conversations after games about what wasn't perfect for their team. And really, that's what we're talking about, right? What wasn't perfect. And all in all, they won, they covered, and they made it almost look easy. But it wasn't easy because in the first half, they had a little issue in the beginning of the game. So it's good stuff, guys. I'm positive today. Positive today. Rob says Howard threw a terrible pick. Indeed, should have thrown another. He didn't even see that safety. Like, did not even look, didn't see him. That was a gift wrapped pick for that kid, and he is probably just beside himself that he didn't catch that. Yeah, that was a really bad one. Georgia just scored. Oh my gosh. Georgia just scored on a bomb. Are you kidding me? Well, this was supposed to be the game of the year. I was laughing at the idea that this was the game of the year by the time I turned it off. And Georgia is now up 34-33 with 2:31 left. They're going to be going for 2 here to try and make it a 3-point lead. And this puppy is going to come down to the wire. What a game. Unreconstructed said Peacock reduced quality. Jason has the issue that I had with Peacock, that their rewind was so annoying. The rewinding and the fast forwarding, I could never get the spot I was looking for. It was brutal. It was really brutal, especially when I was trying to take notes throughout the game. Emily, we knew you'd have to stop in to tell us all that Devin did a fantastic job. Devin at one point was 1 for 1 with a 17-yard touchdown. It doesn't get much better than that, right? Good for Dev. Good for Dev. Brad also not a fan of Peacock, not a fan of Andrew Siciliano or Colt McCoy. The app itself, the fact that you can't flip on other games during commercials, it was bad all around. I can't believe we're stuck doing this. It's something, man, that we are stuck watching Ohio State football on this random app that is so far inferior to everything else. It's pretty wild. Yeah, Jason, it's on, buddy. It is on. We got ourselves a ball game here. Maybe Juck members get a private Discord server and someone streams the Peacock games there. Yeah, that's an idea. Oh my gosh. Hey, I'm happy you brought this up, Isaiah. Travion's pass blocking. This is not something that has ever been a strength of his. In fact, he was probably not so hot at it. And all of a sudden this year, you think back to the Akron game when he just put that dude, put him down hard. And today, just coming in there, getting after it, very effective blocks. It was fantastic. I did the same thing. Jason tried to rewind, started it all over. I did the same thing. Unreconstructed thinks that the Ohio State tight ends suck. To me, they are without a doubt if you look at all the position groups on the Buckeyes team. Bama with a long completion. He's to the 20. He's to the 10. Touchdown, Bama. Are you kidding me? Ryan Williams with a 75-yard touchdown reception. Another superstar freshman. And Kirby's going bananas. Kirby's absolutely going bananas as Alabama takes a 5-point lead now with 2 minutes and 18 seconds left. They'll go for 2 to try to make it 7. And the game of the year is living up to the billing. The Buckeyes and the Ducks certainly have got the going to have the pressure to put on a show for the country. Jeff, how you doing, buddy? I was talking about tight ends. So the tight ends stick out like a sore thumb to me as a group that just is not talent-wise, does not match up to the rest of the team. Bama converts on the 2-point conversion. They are now up 3 with 2:18 left to go, just like that. And the lights go out at Bryant-Denny. This is happening more and more with they're turning the lights off in the stadium. It was really funny yesterday at the end of the Miami game. They throw the Hail Mary. The Miami folks think it's incomplete before the ref has even signaled. They're shutting the lights off. Miami runs onto the field, and then they go for the review. And I'm just thinking the whole time, please give them another moment, like the confetti dropping at the Fiesta Bowl, and then they end up losing. Didn't end up going our way, but I think everybody was rooting for that one to stand. Miami, they're so hated, guys. This I got to rewatch this, man. I don't know how they came back. Oh, Rod says Keon Sabb got cooked. Keon Sabb, the Michigan transfer. Sam, that's a good question. Sam asked, are we on Peacock again this year? Does anybody know? I do not. Wow. Oh, you guys are all watching this too. I'm just a tick behind you. Everybody saw that. Yeah, this is amazing. This is fantastic. Here we go. 7-point game. Bama kicking off to the Dogs. We got a fair catch. And on comes Carson Beck and the Dogs. Kirby, not a great record against Bama. I think he's only beat him one time. Lamborghini Carson Beck rolls onto the field. How about that Ole Miss game? So the Ole Miss game, really interesting, right? I guess the first thing is Kentucky, pretty damn good. The second thing, that South Carolina win at Kentucky, where they beat them by like 38 points and absolutely destroyed them. Chris and I were talking about South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and both of us thought that they were pretty good. I definitely thought they should have beat LSU at home. They got kind of screwed by some bad officiating and losing their quarterback, Sellers, in that game. But I think they're pretty good. And it's Kentucky's solid. You know, they're always a game team. But I think that Georgia near loss up there looks maybe not quite so bad as it did. I think they're a pretty legit team. And I haven't really bought in on the Ole Miss taking that next step the entire season. So not a huge shock, but you know, in this new system, doesn't mean a ton. Beck on his horse, and he'll be a yard short of a first down. And we're going to go to the 2-minute warning. I will call it the 2-minute warning. I will not call it the 2-minute timeout. You don't just get to change the name of things. Jason says, instead of talking about both teams' terrible defenses, and he's talking about Alabama and Georgia, they're going to rank both of these turds 1 and 2 because they don't see the bad tackling. They just cheer for touchdowns. And it's true. Andy says, you know, ESPN is going to say this is evidence that the SEC is awesome, but I don't see two dominant teams. Good game, but the Big 12 had some good games too. And this looks like a Big 12 game at this point. I haven't even watched it, but you know, what did we just see in the last 10 minutes we've been sitting here together? Whoa. Mecca thinks Will Kazmarek is terrible. I've never seen Mecca criticize a player. So if Mecca thinks he's terrible, you better take that to the bank. Scott, there is not a Discord. I don't even know what that is, buddy. But if you'd like one, we could have one. You guys know I you know, I'm challenged with this kind of stuff. I need a producer. Doreen in the house. What's up, D? We could get an overtime, absolutely. Did Oregon race out to a big lead yet against UCLA? We're 20 minutes in. 7-0. 7-0 Ducks with 7 minutes left in the first. We got a 3:30 kick next week for Iowa. A lot of recruits coming for that game, and Buckeyes will be in their gray jerseys for that one, as far as we know, unless they've changed that up. They did send out that cryptic tweet that was all black. So some people were speculating maybe they were going to wear the blacks instead, but they did announce that they were going to wear the grays. Really looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be a pretty big test for these Bucks, and just hope that we stay healthy. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest thing. Just get the win and stay healthy. That's not going to be one where I come on here and I'm too concerned about how we looked or how we won. Obviously the defense should be able to handle their business against them, but if the Buckeyes win by 14 points, I'll be perfectly happy. On to Oregon. Let's go. Let's get this. That's what it's all about. Jetter says it's a good year when all the Florida schools are booty. I do think Miami's going to win the ACC still. I know some people might feel differently after the Virginia Tech game. But remember that Virginia Tech team was supposed to be in contention. They just happened to start 2-2. I don't think they're as bad as everybody's made them out to be after that 2-2 start, even though they lost to Vandy. But Vandy almost beat Missouri too. I think this Vandy team's got a little something about it. This season's been wild so far. This is such a fun season. I'm really digging it. Carson Beck, 24 for 43 and 406 yards on the night with 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Milro, 27 for 33. And Beck's got the ball at his own 35 with 2 minutes. 3rd and 2. Georgia will run it, get the first down and about 10 more. And they're going to need a touchdown. Minute 50 left. Clock stopped. In the game of the year. We might as well watch it together. Mika says, sucks that we have Peacock Premium in order to watch that game. BS. Is there a couple different kinds? Iowa knows how to produce tight ends. That's no joke. Incomplete from Beck. And no pass interference thrown. Did anybody have a problem with the final play of the Notre Dame Louisville game? So Louisville has a 4th and 1, and they jump, false start, 4th and 6, and the quarterback drops back and chucks it downfield on 4th and 6. Game in the balance, and doesn't go for the first down, chucks it up. It looked to me to be a clear PI. They did not call PI. Game ends. Notre Dame wins. Pretty wild. Beck with the completion. He's out of bounds 2 yards short of the first, across the 50-yard line. Is it the 50? Todd, not a believer in the Wildcats. Rod is with me. Rod will not give in and begin saying 2-minute timeout. I just this already has a name, okay? We already know the name. We've been saying it all our lives. You don't just get to bring it into your version of football and say, call it something else. Georgia across the 50. Beck drops back. He rolls right. Oh my. Receiver looks like he jumps for no reason and drops the ball. It's now 4th and 2 with 1:22 left. Dogs do need a touchdown. First, they got to get a first down. Georgia with all 3 timeouts. Bama also with all 3 timeouts. Here's the snap. They need 2. Beck walks up to the line. He's talking to his lineman. Changing the play. He's in the gun. The snap. Complete. First down, Dogs. Down to the 35-yard line of Alabama. 1:15 left. The clock is stopped for the first down. Ooh, buddy. Todd says, it's funny when Big Ten teams score a lot. They say, look at the bad tackling and no defense. We know that there's a double standard. Andy says, have your son set up a Discord server, Juck. I could do that. They'd happily do that for me. Looks like we got an injured Bama player on the field, and the game will stop for a minute. He's laid out on his back. So I just don't know what it's for. Is that maybe if you could explain to me what that's for. And I don't know what we do on the Discord server, my good pal. Kemp says, how about Devin Brown coming in clutch to JJ with a crazy catch? It was nice. He led him perfectly, put it where only he could catch it. And I was really happy for him. But how about Andrew Siciliano jumping the gun there and getting, like, I don't know, 10 of the 13 million Ohio State fans to go, Sayan's coming in. And then, oh no, wait, Devin Brown's up too with him. Like, that was like, dude, come on, man. I feel like that's the second time this has happened this year where somebody's jumped the gun and said Sayan's coming in, and he's not. He's just getting up to warm up with them. Idiots. Jason says, yes, Devin did make a play. And Georgia snaps the ball. Beck drops back, rolls right. He's going to run it for 2 yards. Nothing was open. We got 1:04. Clock is rolling. And they'll call a timeout with 1 minute left. Plenty of time with a minute left. 30 yards to go. They need to score a touchdown. What a game. Unrestricted says, if the refs have anything to do with it, they'll make sure Miami is undefeated. So, that play last night, like here's the thing. Like, I've heard so many people say today, I don't think it was a completion, but there wasn't enough to overturn it. I was like, okay, but like, I get what you're saying, but wouldn't you rather the proper call be made? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was a completed ball. Was there enough to overturn it? I think so myself. Like, I think I could see that when I think he had it for a millisecond, he hit his back hit, it came loose immediately. And shortly thereafter, the Miami player put his forearm on the ball. He was halfway out of bounds. At that point, it ends. It's a dead ball. I don't think they did a good job explaining that. Carson Beck goes for the end zone. It's an incomplete ball. It'll be 3rd and 8. Kirby is livid. He wants it. He wants a penalty. But that was my take on that. So I thought it was incomplete, and I was happy that the end result was proper. Whether or not there was enough there, I mean, that's a judgment call. I think that there's so many people hate Miami, and we were about to see them lose in hilarious fashion, and we had that taken away from us. That sucked. That would have been really, really funny. But at the same time, I don't think that it was a completion. So I guess I'm happy that the right thing happened. Oh, Georgia completes it for a first down. They're out of bounds at the 20, but there is a flag. 49 seconds left now. Offsides on the defense. Kalen DeBoer is so chill. Kirby's freaking out on the sidelines. His hair's all a mess. Kalen DeBoer looks like he's waiting for a table at a restaurant. Yeah, Louisville definitely had a chance. Asian Posh is definitely rooting for Alabama. Oh my God. I was looking down and I missed it, guys. Bama just picked it off to win the game. I got to rewind. Carson Beck just threw his 3rd interception of the game, and Bama will hang on to win. And, buddy, that ball was short. That was a bad ball. Oh, no. Carson Beck did it. He did it. Poor Carson Beck from 20 yards out. Yeah, it was way too short. Bad ball. Never gave his receiver a chance. Devin Brown would not have done that. That I know for sure. Devin Brown doesn't throw balls short. Devin Brown will put that sucker 10 yards over your head, but he will not throw it short. Andy thinks Caleb Downs looks like an assassin the way he tackles. It is so unique, isn't it? The way he shoots in and just takes your legs out, and at the same time he's like turning. So he never gets himself in harm's way. Like, I don't think that guy's ever going to get injured, and it's so effective. He's so efficient at it. And listening to Nick Saban, I know we've heard this before, but listening to him on College Game Day, when someone brought up Caleb Downs, say, one of my favorite all-time players, and he had him for 1 year. It's just like, that's so amazing to me. You could not possibly have higher praise as a college football player, right? Richie said that Georgia had so many drops tonight. Yeah, again, I did not get to see much of this game. I totally tuned out. Kemp thinks no doubt Arvell is our best linebacker after tonight. Terry is with me that Indiana is the real deal. Listen, Chris thinks I'm better than Colt McCoy. He can throw a better football, but yeah, I think I could probably be a better color man. Dave, I saw you last night, Green Shield. I saw Dave Greenshield on the Voice of College Football. Why don't you ever come on Juck on Bucks, Dave? What's the deal, bud? I've had call-in shows. You never called before. Dave thinks Peacock in general is bad, but there is a show. They played a promo for it that last year when I ordered Peacock for the Buckeyes game, I ended up forgetting about it. I never canceled it. And I watched this show, The Girl from American Pie. She's like a detective. She's got a real raspy, gross voice. They promoted it tonight. I thought it was a pretty interesting show. I kind of dug it. Andy says Ryan Day is going to win a natty, and Coach Kurt Signetti will get Big Ten Coach of the Year. And wouldn't that just be fitting? Ohio State coaches aren't allowed to win that. Jason agrees about Indiana. Mika thinks Miami is overrated and always will be. Generally, Miami and USC. We did the study. So entering into the year versus how many spots you drop to the end of the year over 25 years. And the three most overrated teams were Miami. Actually, one was USC, two was Texas, three was Miami. Those are the teams that historically are overvalued at the beginning of the season and underperform compared to what they're valued at by the general public and those who do the polls. So that is factually correct. Miami generally overrated. Ken thinks this is the worst year of officiating that we've seen in forever. I'd have to agree. It seems like every week this year, we've been talking on Monday's show about something that has to do with officials, and I really can't recall it. Luckily, we haven't played in any close games and had to worry about it too much for ourselves. But throughout college football, we've seen it a ton. Yeah, Rod did not like the Beck man's throw. I can't believe this game, though. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. No, Kevin, I'm with you. Kevin doesn't think Beck is as good as he's hyped to be. I've not thought that. Dorian thinks Nick Saban should be happy. I saw them flip to Nick in the booth after a really awesome looking Bama touchdown, and he was just sitting like this. Mika loves Gabe Powers. Of course she does. Marysville, Ohio kid, right, Mika? Jeff says Devin Brown has never played more than a quarter. It's true. He's still not played much. Todd says Georgia fans down bad. All that comeback to take the lead and to lose. And to lose it that way with that, immediate, they come back, take the lead, and then just immediately Ryan Williams with a 75-yard touchdown. That's got to sting, man. We would be hurting. And as Dave says, they still got a trip to Austin. They've still got a trip to Ole Miss, right? And they got Tennessee as well still? I know they got a bear of a schedule. It would be pretty funny if they didn't make the playoffs. Mika says, yes, he is from Marysville. 1 point for the Juckster. I nailed it. On to Oregon, USC for Andy. What a game of college football. So Wisconsin with a game performance against USC, but it's just clear Luke is not. I'm disappointed in him, but they're just not there yet. But they did come to play. Kansas State, after getting absolutely smashed last week by BYU 38-9 in a game that was deceptively a blowout because Kansas State actually outgained BYU by like 150 yards and somehow got blown out. Special teams touchdowns by BYU, turnovers that led to touchdowns. That's kind of how it happened. And Oklahoma State lost to Utah last week. So the number 20 and number 23 teams square off today. Kansas State whoops them 42-20. And the Pokes and Mike Gundy are gone for the season. They are out of Big 12 contention at this point. Kansas State remains in it. BYU wins to remain undefeated. They beat Baylor 34-28, and they remain in the Big 12 hunt. We all know what happened at Michigan and Kentucky beating Ole Miss. Of course, the Miami game. Arizona now up 10-3 on Utah. Almost halftime. We are at the 2-minute warning. Alabama beats Georgia. Boise State currently up 17-10 at the half against Wazoo. Notre Dame beats Louisville by a touchdown. Oklahoma beat Auburn, a terrible Auburn team, by 6 points, which covered. They were only actually, they started off as a 2.5-point favorite. That injury report came out that we talked about yesterday. Oklahoma was missing 5 wide receivers, like 2 running backs, a linebacker, a cornerback, and the line actually went to Auburn favored in the game, with Oklahoma being number 21 in the country and Auburn having already 2 losses and looking terrible. And Auburn damn near beat them. Like, they were close. Peyton Thorne with an absolutely horrible interception. They were in a 4-minute offense. Like, it was over. And that Peyton Thorne, I just dislike that Hugh Freeze so much that I just got to kind of root against Auburn regardless. And they lost. I'll give their fans credit, though. That place was jamming, absolutely jamming. And they got a crappy team. So, like, when we see these recruits going to Auburn and they're digging it, and everybody's like, how? It's got a little something to it now. You know what I mean? It definitely has a little something to it. Clemson 40-14 over Stanford. Iowa State beats Houston 20-0. Texas A&M ends up holding off Arkansas. They win 21-17. They'll stay ranked. They're at number 24 in the country. That Texas final was 35-13 over Mississippi State. And Penn State ends up winning 21-7 over Illinois. They do not cover that ridiculous 18-point spread. And I think that the public really just raked Vegas over the coals on that one, because everybody was saying that spread is ridiculous. And generally, when the entire public is saying that, that's a cue for me to go the other way and just go ahead and take Penn State minus the 18. I didn't do it because I too thought it was just too ridiculous. And sure enough, Vegas tried to outsmart themselves on that one. Greenshield thinks the future of the Buckeye defense looks really bright, seeing the younger guys play. And I do love to see these younger guys play. They're awesome. Chris thinks Milro will be a first-round pick like Anthony Richardson. Ken agrees with me that nobody looks unbeatable. Dave does not see Milro as an NFL quarterback. I have been very horrible with my hit rate. Like, for instance, Anthony Richardson. Like, I thought that was insane, like totally insane that he was getting drafted that high. But and I don't follow the NFL like I used to, but my son very big into it, and he says he thinks he's pretty solid. So, I don't know how. I think it's different now than when I was coming up and really following the NFL, but it's probably been a solid 5 years since I've really followed anything outside of loosely. I watch the Browns on Sunday and root for the Browns. And if they're having a good year, I'm a little bit more into it than other years. But I don't know what it is about the game that's just turned me off. But I'm pretty much strictly college football now. Mika's proud of my Marysville. My Marysville Gabe Powers. I nailed it. Rod is watching the Oregon game, and he does not think their passing game is very good. Jeff thinks that Devin Brown was way off target. Doesn't know why they keep running him out there, saying can do the same in his first year. I think that is going to be a topic of conversation until Sane comes in. It just seems to be something every time I fire this puppy up, somebody wants to talk about. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, because you can make fair arguments either way, But Dev did good tonight, right? He did throw a bad ball or two, but he did good tonight. Chris says he's sick of Colorado getting propped up by the media. I guess, though, you got to give him props tonight, though. UCF, a lot of people think is pretty good, including me. They went down into their house, and as much as I hate them and everything about them, uh, you know, they look damn good. They really did. See you, Ron. Have a good night, buddy. Yeah, Mika, I'm with you. I don't understand why anybody would want to play for Hugh, but I do understand why people can feel a little juice at Auburn. And they got an amazing facility. I took the the online tour of that facility. It was awesome. Jason said Marshall beat Western Michigan 27-20 in the Battle of Ohio State scrimmages. That's a good one. I did not know they played each other. That's funny. Justin says no, but his best friend, an Ohio State fan, tried to tell him Bama and Georgia aren't top 10 teams tonight. Yeah, that's pretty silly. Rod's got Bama as his new number one. Justin's buddy doesn't think that Georgia or Bama would beat Michigan State like Ohio State beat them this evening. I think he's definitely wrong. Yo, Brandingo, what's happening, buddy? Yeah, no doubt about that, man. No doubt about that. There's a percentage of idiots in every group. I'm with Brandingo here. No need to really get into that tonight, in my opinion. Oh, this is a shot at the Browns, Mika. So I'm never into the NFL. Okay, I got you. I see where you're going here. Dallin Hayden had a touchdown tonight, guys. Dallin got his first touchdown, I believe. I believe that's his first with Colorado. Yes, the UCF defense does suck. They did almost lose to TCU. But that offense, man, that's what I was impressed by, that Colorado defense. Like, that UCF offense has been a running machine. Chris says the UCLA coach, Deshaun Foster, is just awkward. No doubt about that, buddy. You know, he's a guy that I was really rooting for, and I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. When they hired him after Chip left, they hired him. He's been hanging around there forever. Running backs coach, a GA, just hanging around the program. Remember, he's a former NFL running back, very good one. And obviously doesn't need the money, but he loves UCLA and he wanted to get into coaching. He's just been hanging around there. And they give him the job, and the UCLA fans are just absolutely livid. They don't want this guy to have the job. He obviously catches wind because, you know, all the UCLA fans were furious. And he gets in his introductory press conference and he's like pleading with them, guys, I know I can do this. I can do it. I'm ready. And I'm like, man, here's this guy, like the biggest moment of his life, probably. So excited. And he's up there like begging for their acceptance to give him a shot. So I feel horrible for him and in turn start to root for him. And then he goes to Big Ten Media Days and absolutely couldn't spend 10 minutes to write out a couple of notes to read on the stage. And then I was like, you know what? If you're not going to help yourself, I'm not going to help you, buddy. Forget it. I'm out. Thanks, Mika. Love you too. It was legendary. I do appreciate the sense of humor that he put the shirt on that said we're in LA. That's what he's probably haven't heard of us. Dude, you're UCLA. We all know who you are. We're in LA with UCLA, with USC. Like, dude. 10-3 Oregon. Chris says, I wonder how Air feels that he didn't get to travel and he was the only quarterback that didn't. That's right. I did see Lincoln on the sidelines too, which, by the way, man, kind of odd. Traveling quarterback for. Hey, it's pretty interesting. I'm with you, Mike. Running the ball against UCF is not that impressive. Chris thinks if they keep losing, they're going to fire Freeze. I don't know, man. I think they're pretty convinced on his plan, which is to spend really, really heavy in the next two cycles in both the portal and in recruiting. We've seen it in recruiting now so far. They took Michigan's best recruit. They've taken quite a few best recruits. By the way, Michigan's current best recruit, Ike Taylor, and their third best recruit, Andrew Olish, the DB and the tight end, were both down on the sidelines at that Alabama game that they just won this weekend. So, you know, probably not a great sign for them. Probably not a fantastic sign. Mika thinks Minnesota was robbed. Emily said Devin Brown could save a bus full of children and people would still hate on him. It's a great point. It's a great point, man. People love to hate on him. I did not used to mind Lanning at all. I actually rather liked him until I saw the way he treated the media out there. And then I was like, screw this guy, man. I don't treat anybody like that. Like, I can't get behind somebody who just talks to people like they're pieces of crap. That's just me. So, yeah, screw him. I'm with you on it. Yeah, Naeem Offord was definitely at Auburn this weekend. Like, it's more surprising when Naeem Offord isn't at Auburn when they have a home game. You know what I mean? So Brandingo, I had given up hope that this was going to happen, but I was with you. I don't know how long you've been listening, but I was super hating on DeBoer. Did not think this was going to work, and I threw in the towel a while back. I think this is an incredibly competent organization, already elite, and it blows my mind that they were able to do that. Such luck, man. What just such luck to be able to go get him, to have things work out in a way that they could get it done. I think it's just awesome. So Mika also thinks Lanning is a jerk face McJerkerson. Um, Mike says, has Oregon even thrown it further than 6 yards downfield? They usually don't. He averages like 4.3 yards per depth of target. It's unbelievable. I think that this was ridiculous to me. The traveling duck, not just that, but the large rubber ducky in the river. Like, you wanted all this attention, right? You wanted all this attention. And it just absolutely screams of the same thing that Lanning accused Colorado of when they came in and he made that speech, which, by the way, he invited the cameras in to make that speech where he accused them of being all about the clicks. And he invited the cameras in so that they could show that speech, which is pretty clickbaity to me. And then they got their social media team going out and doing the thing with the duck and doing the rubber ducky, like the whole thing. Oh, by the way, don't forget that he sat there in that seat and said, they want to say that, the team out west. No, dude, nobody says the team out west. You just said it. Yeah, the whole deal and all that. What's up, Roy? Horrible officiating this weekend started with Miami, Virginia Tech, ended with Minnesota Teton. I want what some of these refs are smoking. Chris says, so they say teams take on their coaches' personalities. No, I think now I think UCLA plays awkward. That's a good one. Mike says he wants to, Posh, but he's in such a crap situation. I think he's rooting for Dallin. He wants to root for Dallin, but he just has a hard time doing it. I feel kind of in the similar boat too. To Mike, I think that was such a strange choice by him. Even the picture after the touchdown, like they show him like doing his thing with the CU on his chest, and it just feels so weird. It's just not his personality. Like, he's very shy and reserved, and that's a very boisterous and not shy and reserved program. Like Kansas State, that feels very Dallin Hayden to me. Colorado, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, it's 11:54. We've been on for an hour and 8 minutes. If anybody else has something to say in the next few, we could pop them up here. If not, I'm going to wrap her on up, and we will get back at it. Either probably not tomorrow, because you guys will all be watching the NFL. I'll be rewatching for sure that Georgia-Bama game, which I missed a large chunk of. I'll be rewatching the Buckeyes game, and I'll definitely tune in on some of the Texas game. I'm going to have to watch some Illinois-Penn State. Didn't get to see a lot of that one either. And what else? That'll probably be it on the games that I need to watch so that we can talk about them in a little more depth on Monday. But thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I appreciate you as always. And Bucks win in pretty dominant fashion, even if it didn't feel like that right off the rip. That's a dominant score. That's a cover. And they did more than they were expected or predicted to do. I think all in all, they won't be satisfied with it, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? So good stuff for all of us. On to Iowa. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Let's get it.